It all started with an offer, one of those that seemed too simple to refuse. I was 18 in 2009, nothing interesting to do, no extra cash lying around. And then my dad, Walter, the real estate agent, called me. One of his friends and clients, Roy Carson, CEO of a local media company, needed a house sitter for the weekend. The pay? $100, a considerable sum for a kid with no plans. I accepted right away. My dad drove me to the Carson residence, a large, modern house with mirrored windows and an immaculate garden, a place that exuded wealth and somehow a certain detachment. He showed me where the key was hidden in the backyard, under a perfectly placed plant pot. "Call me if anything happens," he said, before leaving me there. Little did I know what awaited me within those perfect walls. As soon as Roy texted me confirming my presence, I started my tasks. First, I fed Zeke, the family dog, a huge and friendly golden retriever who seemed happy to have company. Then, Roy asked me for help with an annoying virus on the office desktop, a virus that, coincidentally, also controlled the house's security camera system. I thought the office would be a perfect place to do my homework, math if I remember correctly, and in no time I solved the virus problem. I spent the rest of the night texting Evelyn Cooper, my girlfriend at the time. I was trying hard to fix my relationship with my dad, Walter, after things went south with my ex-girlfriend, Kara. The funny thing is, Walter knew from the beginning that Kara was never the ideal girlfriend for me. He had a nose for trouble that I, naive, didn't possess. Later, Roy asked me to do some late-night grocery shopping at Nuck's convenience store. He'd left a $100 bill on the master bedroom nightstand. I grabbed Alex's bike, Roy's son's bike, an imposing mountain bike, and headed to the store. Nuck's neon lights flickered in the night's darkness. There, to my surprise, I found my school friends, Andy and Turner, in the snack aisle. They told me Kara had been there and bought groceries just before me. A subtle shiver. We changed the subject to my house-sitting job, and Andy, with a smirk, revealed that Alec, Roy's son's bike, was that weird kid who went to his sister's school. I didn't give it much thought and continued my shopping, feeling a small knot in my stomach. At 9:46 p.m., I rode Alec's bike back to the house. The night wind chilled my face. I was getting ready for the night, almost finishing my math homework, when Andy called me. His voice was strangely urgent.
Andy, urgent voice, almost breathless. "Noah, you have to read about Mr. Carson's divorce. It's public. It's a mess." That's when I started researching. I discovered that Roy Carson's divorce from his ex-wife, Elisa Brown, was more than public. It was tumultuous, filled with tabloids and gossip. And several of her fans, some of them obsessive, had been showing up at the house with confrontational intentions since the publicity of the separation. Those mirrored windows, which once seemed elegant, now felt like a thin shield against the outside world. Soon after, a noise at the door. A pizza arrived for me, sent by Roy via an online order as a thank you for my work. A momentary relief. I grabbed the food, gave the delivery guy a generous tip, trying to smile, and ate my snack/dinner while watching TV, the sound of the television filling the house's emptiness. Sometime later, I heard a soft knock at the door. Investigating, I found a bouquet of flowers on the doormat. Red roses, beautiful and vibrant. I picked up the flowers without thinking much about it, my mind still reeling from the divorce news, and returned to Roy's office to try, finally, to finish my homework, from which I had been repeatedly distracted. September 25, 2009. At 1:36 a.m., the house's power suddenly went out. The darkness was total, dense, suffocating. Amidst the blackness, I heard Zeke barking outside, a loud, desperate bark, not a common bark. I went to investigate, fumbling in the dark, following the sound. I found the breaker box on the side of the house and, with a click, reconnected the electricity. The silence of the house, previously disturbed, now felt heavier. Already uneasy, my phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. "Are you alone there?" I ignored it. Probably Andy or Turner. I went back to studying, trying to concentrate. Unbeknownst to me, however, amidst the brief blackout in my distraction, someone had already entered the house. I heard a commotion downstairs again, a noise, and a smell. I cautiously went downstairs. The oven had been strangely turned on, and it was smoking. I promptly turned it off, feeling a chill run down my spine. Fed up with the situation, I immediately contacted Andy, demanding he tell Turner, known for being mischievous and loving pranks, to stop the apparent prank.
Andy, confused and sleepy voice via phone. Prank? Noah, what are you talking about? Turner and I are here at my place, having a sleepover. What prank? The shock hit me. My paranoia wasn't due to lack of sleep. It wasn't a prank. I attributed my nervousness to lack of sleep and went back to the office, but not before checking the security monitor. The system I had fixed. To my horror, there was an intruder in the hallway, coming from the office. She approached the office door. Her movements were slow, deliberate. She stood menacingly outside the door, and in her hand, a kitchen knife, gleaming coldly in the screen's light. During our brief exchange of words through the closed door, her voice was icy, familiar. She revealed herself to be Kara, my ex-girlfriend. Kara, cold, ironic voice, almost seductive at first, then brutal and threatening, her voice transforming into pure hatred. Noah, I missed you so much. She laughed, a humorless laugh. I gave you a chance. You didn't want me. Now, I'm going to take your life, Noah, and hers too. Evelyn's. Panicked voice, shallow breathing, sounds of running, a lock clicking, whispers behind the door, eyes peeking through a crack. I quickly left the office. I ran to the laundry room, across the hall. I locked the door, the click of the lock echoing in my panic. I peeked through the blinds and the door's windows. Kara was distracted, breaking things in the office, looking for me. The whole house seemed to be a hunt, and I was the prey. While she was distracted, I stealthily left the laundry room. My bare feet barely touched the wooden floor. I ran to the back door. I had to escape. The sound of something breaking in the office, a frustrated scream from Kara. I was almost there. I hugged Zeke, who barked wildly in relief at seeing me. I ran to the street, police sirens already audible, growing closer and closer. My dad, Walter, had already alerted the authorities, worried by my previous phone calls. When the police arrived, with blue and red lights swirling in the darkness, Kara had already fled. Later, her story unfolded for me. We met online, started dating, despite the 3-year age difference. 2 months later, she started using methamphetamine and quickly became addicted. Several failed attempts to help her, and I finally ended our relationship, which enraged her. I also discovered she was under the influence of drugs during the incident and tried to deceive the police about her intentions that night. But the security camera footage, the same system I fixed, was highly incriminating. She ended up being sentenced to a long and unspecified term. To make matters worse, and what disturbed me the most that night, was the fact that Kara stole nothing, besides the kitchen knife she intended to use as the murder weapon. It was a petty revenge, fueled by delusions and hatred, and I was the target. Even today, I feel a shiver down my spine just remembering it. That night at the Carson house changed me forever. Because terror doesn't need ghosts or monsters. It can have a human face, a face you once knew. And sometimes, it doesn't want your possessions. It just wants to destroy you. Have you ever felt someone's malice so closely, to the point of becoming the target of such senseless revenge? A target of madness?